Hello guys and welcome to the channel. First I want to thank you guys for the interaction you've been giving me for my last couple of videos. Views I really appreciate, the comments I really appreciate. Just share the channel and we can grow this channel and this community together. I'm sure we can do it, but I really appreciate all the views, all the comments, the likes and all the positive feedback that I'm getting from you guys. So today, the topic of conversation is going to be Spurs and more specifically Postecoglou. And then we're going to do a brief Arsenal versus Zagreb Champions League preview. But first I want to speak about Spurs and Ange Postecoglou. Now, Spurs have lost their 12th game of the season against Everton, and it was absolutely woeful. 3-0 down at half-time to Everton, making them look like prime AC Milan, making Calvert-Lewin look like prime Inzaghi. Shocking from Spurs. Ange tried to go to a back three, didn't work, changed it back to a back four, made some substitutions, Richarlison came on and such, and they clawed it back to 3-2. That being said, I don't think that was down to Spurs. I think that was down to Everton and Moyes protecting their lead. They had a 3-0 cushion there. So, as I'm watching the likes of TalkSport, the likes of Sky Sports News speak about this, Tottenham are in a crisis. Tottenham are in a crisis. And this is what I'm talking about the narrative. If this was Ten Hag, they would be whipping him, on him, non-stop, get him out, he's crap, he's shit, he needs to be sacked. Blah, 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 blah. Like they were until they eventually hounded him out. Just like they did with Emery. But for some reason, they have a fetish. Like, I need to call it a fetish with Ange Postecoglou. They don't want to say that he is shit, that he's crap. They don't want to give him the same treatment as they gave to Ten Hag and Emery when he was at Arsenal and Hag when he was at United. And I think that's unfair because you need to treat, listen, in life, we're all equal. Everyone should be treated the same. And the media, more specifically the sports media, they have narratives. They have narratives. And they didn't like Ten Hag. They didn't like Emery. Emery had to go rebuild his reputation, come back. Now they're kissing his ass. Ten Hag's gonna have to go and rebuild his reputation, which I'm sure he will. But Ange Postecoglou is 15th place with Spurs, and all I keep hearing is injuries. When Manchester United had the whole of their backline decimated last season, no one was using that as an excuse for Ten Hag. Oh, he had injuries. When he couldn't get Højlund fit, no one was saying, we should Ten Hag, he has injuries. No one was saying that. No one was giving him excuses. But with Postecoglou, they keep giving excuses after excuses after excuses about his... Now, and it's pissing me off. It's pissing me off. Bournemouth have 8 first-team players out, but yet they're flying. It's not about injuries. It is about the ability of the coach. And that is something that Ange Postecoglou lacks. And that is coaching ability. Now, I called it that this Ange Postecoglou would be crap at Spurs in the English League in general, and that the step up from the Scottish League to England will be massive, and he will fail and he will flop, and just that he's a shit coach. I called it as soon as he was appointed. I didn't jump on the bandwagon because I just called it for what it was because I know my stuff. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Ange Postecoglou should be sacked. He should be sacked. He is woeful. He is completely out of his depth. He's a fraud. He's rude when it comes to media and the press and keeping interviews. He's so rude. Like, who do you think you are? You achieved nothing. Nothing. Being a success with Celtic is not difficult. Every manager's a success with Celtic who's been there. Now, if he would have came from Aberdeen or Kilmarnock, Hearts, Rangers, and he was a success there, prizing away Celtic's dominance, then I would say, okay, maybe there's an argument to be made that he can be a good manager, like Sir Alex Ferguson. He succeeded with Aberdeen. But he done it with Celtic. Everyone's a success with Celtic. What makes you think he's going to come from Celtic to the Premier League and be a top manager? He was doomed to fail because he didn't have any experience of top flight elite football. And that is the facts. Of course, his style, his tactics are going to work at Celtic. They dominate every game. It's the ultimate Farmers League, the SPL. And I'm going to tell you straight, the reason the media have got this narrative and they make all these excuses is because most of the pundits, pundits like Simon Jordan and other people on TalkSport and Sky Sports, when he came in, they're like, oh, he's this breath of fresh air. He's going to succeed at Spurs. They won the first 10 games or whatever. Everyone thought he was amazing. And then the wheels started falling off. And ever since those first 10 games, they've been shit. Spurs have been shit. And they don't want to admit that they were wrong. That's why they're not changing the narrative. That's why they're giving him so many excuses. Because they don't want to admit that they were wrong. The likes of Danny Murphy, Simon Jordan, all of them on TalkSport, Sky Sports, they don't want to admit they were wrong because they were going with the original narrative that, yeah, he plays this expansive style of football. What he done at Celtic, he shit. What he done at Celtic means nothing in this league. He is rubbish. And I also want to say about the injuries. The last 10 games of last season, they were woeful. Woeful. They still had Van der Ven. They had Romero. They had most of their first team and they were still shit. And then they come on to this year. He's been backed by Daniel Levy and he's still shit. Not because of injuries, not because of any excuses, because he's not a very good coach. Get over it, get used to it, it's the facts. Take off the delusional glasses and see things for what they are. Postecoglou is not a very good coach. And I want to give a shout out to Jamie O'Hara, ex-Tottenham player and pundit on TalkSport. He's saying it for what it is. He ain't wearing the delusional glasses. He was fooled, but now he sees that Ange ain't very good. And he wants him gone. And he's saying it for his... So I have to big up O'Hara. And plus, he makes me laugh. I think he's one of the best on that show. But most of those people are not saying it for what it is. And they keep giving him excuses. Why didn't you give Ten Hag excuses? Why didn't you give Emery excuses? Because you didn't like them. And the narrative was, they're shit, let's get them sacked. Let's have headlines. Spurs are in 15th place. Almost in a relegation battle. He is the worst Spurs manager that that I've ever seen. He's probably the worst Spurs manager in the Premier League era. I don't know about before. But when you're looking at the likes of Nuno, Redknapp, Poch, Mourinho, Conte, Ramos, who won them their last trophy, he's the worst of the lot by far. By far. He's crap, he's woeful, he's delusional, he's rude. Like, who does he think he is? You're not good. You're crap. And people are going to say, oh, well, Brendan Rodgers at Celtic, he's done well in the Premier League. Yeah, but he's a well-travelled, well-experienced manager. He's had loads of experience in this country, in the Premier League with Swansea, with Liverpool. Celtic, he's done well, from my viewpoint, much better than Postecoglou. Come back to this country, done well with Leicester. And he's gone back to Celtic for easy money. Because he knows he's going to win the league every year, the cups. It's easy. When a Premier League job comes up with a top 8, top 16, he'll come back. And Rodgers is a far better manager than Postecoglou. But Postecoglou gets more respect than Rodgers. Much more leeway. It's pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. Looking at the game in isolation, yeah, Spurs had injuries, but there's still loads of internationals out there. There's still loads of top players. The likes of Kulusevski, the likes of Son, Basuma. There's still a lot of players out there. Porro. These are experienced players. Richarlison. And they get absolutely smashed by Everton. And they've just been losing in general. Now, Spurs are in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. They're going to Liverpool for the second leg. They're 1-0 up, but they're going to get smashed by Liverpool. And I think that's going to be the game that tips him over the edge, that earns Postecoglou the sack. He should be sacked already. They're in 15th place. This is the worst Spurs that I've ever seen. This is the worst Spurs manager that I've ever seen. And I don't want to say it, and I do want to say it, but I told you so, innit? I told you so. I called it, and it's all coming into fruition. He is shit. And there is no excuses, injuries, all this. Everyone gets injuries. Coach your team. Coach your team. His coaching ability is the only thing that's been lacking since the first 10 games of last season. He's been shocking. He's been found out. He's a fraud. And anyone who rates this manager, anyone who rates Ange Postecoglou, well, you are delusional. You are deluded. Some of our Spurs mates, you're deluded. You're delusional. Take them off. Now, if you sack him, who comes in? There's loads of managers. Every manager available is probably better than this guy. And another thing that annoys me is when they keep blaming Daniel Levy. They've backed this manager. Daniel Levy has backed this manager. You can't blame Daniel Levy. He's not the one that's given the tactic, telling him he's backed him. This is his team, his players, the players that he wanted. It's the manager. The problem with this specific incarnation of the Spurs team is the gaffer. You had the right man with Conte. Conte was proper. But, Conte's demanding, and it was probably a little bit like this between Levy and Conte with Conte's demands. But really, Daniel Levy should have listened to Conte, what he wanted, his demands. Because you see, when clubs do listen to Conte, Chelsea, Juventus, Napoli, now that he's currently at, they reap success. That was the mistake. Daniel Levy should have listened to Conte. Because with a manager like Conte, winning manager, leader, you should listen to him. And then inevitably, with that epic rant, he got himself sacked by spitting harsh truths. Now, Pastor Cogley won't get himself sacked because he ain't got the minerals. He's riding this wave, this fraudulent wave. He ain't got the minerals. When he does his interviews, he's always head down. Mate, head down, not looking rude. No, he ain't got the minerals because he knows he's a fraud. Fifth choice. The fifth choice manager at that time. Come on. Now, he will get sacked eventually. When that time comes, for Spurs, it'll be a good thing because he's crap. From an Arsenal point of view and from other fans' point of view, we probably want him to stay because it's funny. But to be honest, he gets on my nerves. He's boring, his interviews are annoying, and he's just a fraud. Completely overrated hype job. Well done to Everton and David Moyes. They're getting that new manager bounce and they seem to be turning a corner. So long may it continue, because I do rate David Moyes as a manager, very underrated manager, and I'm sure he's going to do a great job at Everton. So, quick now on Arsenal versus Zagreb. I think Dynamo Zagreb, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, Dynamo Zagreb tomorrow in the Champions League. Arsenal at home. That should be a simple 3 points. Now, where I'm at, I want Arteta sacked. I'm Arteta out. That's it. And people have asked me, what would make me Arteta in? Win me the Premier League, win us the Champions League, and this transfer window, that's later on this season, win one of them, or this transfer window, sign Osimhen. Now, I'm hearing murmurs that Arsenal are investigating the Osimhen signing, but the way Arsenal do transfer business, slow, tentative, I just don't trust. That's why I don't do transfer shows, because I don't trust most of these rumours. If Fabrizio says that it's happening, that here we go, then I'll cover it. But hopefully, the rumours, there's something in it, and we do get Osimhen this transfer window. I would even be happy if we sign a pre-contract and get him in the summer, because we need Victor Osimhen at Arsenal Football Club. As for the game, Arsenal should win. Now, if Arsenal don't win, they should sack him that night and get Allegri. Because I'm hearing that Allegri turned down West Ham and that he turned down the Saudi club that was linked with him because he wants a big club in Europe. So, if we lose to Dynamo Zagreb, they should sack him. Is that going to happen? Probably not, but they should sack him. That's the right thing to do. Because losing to Dynamo Zagreb at home is completely unacceptable. Just like throwing a 2-goal lead at home to Villa, completely unacceptable. But we should win. And I'm predicting that we're going to win 3-1. So let's see how it goes on that front. That's going to end today's video, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow for the post-game analysis of the Arsenal Zagreb game. All that good stuff. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you very soon for another one. Peace.